How are you doing? Hello. All right. So everything's went wrong that could go wrong today. I haven't actually been back that long. Hang on, take that out there. Because I've been down at the allotment, as well as doing like tons of other stuff. So let me just. JK is saying the sounds good, but can everyone else tell me? All see and all hear and everything. Let me know. Just put Y in the chat. Let me know if you can all hear and see everything okay. Cool, Jeff. Thank you. All right, Derek. Awesome. Craig. Good. Audley. Thank you very much. Okay. Kathleen. Thank you. D as Janet. Right. Dave, Martin, Natalia. Lovely. Thank you very much. Okay. Cool. So what I'm going to do is try my best to actually do this presentation because like I said, I had all of the information slides and everything that I wanted, and then I tried to convert them and everything just kind of like switched off, which is a bit of a bummer, but it doesn't matter. I mean, like, the principle is still the same. What I'm going to explain is still the same. If I get some slides on, I will. Definitely going to show you. Actually, let me get the form as well, so I can share the form with you. Let's get Google up there. Google, evil Google. But anyway, we need it for this form. EV form. Land Registry forms. Get on there. Come on, man. Where's the EV form? Can you search on here? Bloody hell. It doesn't matter. I actually did download the form. Let me see if I can find it in my downloads. But what we're going to go over anyway is, like, it's all about council repossessing homes for care fees. And they make tons of money from this. This is a cash cow for them. It's not about caring for people. It's not about, we're going to look after you if you end up in a care home. Hopefully, of, the awareness now that literally no one except, well, in this group we do, and we look after each other and we care for each other. But apart from that, I tell you what, the council don't give a shit about you. Anyway, let's get back to the beginning. Let's go into a little bit of housekeeping. People call it that. I've seen it before on webinars, and I've been on and went, oh, doing housekeeping. And then they explain what it's about. So anyway, obviously, there's actually, like, 69, 70, 69, 70, 70 now on here. That's brilliant, because I've just, like, literally shared it not long. So it's brilliant to have so many people on. 72, yay! All right, but I've opened it up to more than just my private group, so it's open to everybody. Everybody can come in. Everybody's perfectly welcome, but you're only welcome if you're here to take part, take notes, and enjoy. Anyone here that's got any snarky comments, any nastiness about them, any BS that comes through, and I don't argue, I don't debate, I don't decide, right? Well, I do decide, but in a split second, it's good, you're out, okay? So just so everybody knows, my private group, there's a lot of you in here, so you know exactly what's what. It's positive or it's nothing, and that's all there is to it. I don't argue with people, all right? You don't want to see me argue with people. So, I don't put up with any nonsense. One single comment trying to be funny, being horrible, not just to me, but to anybody else in that's on there tonight, the call, you're gone in a split second, right? No, I'm gonna argue here. I'm not gonna have an online discussion or an online argument. You're out. Boom, gone. All right. We've got information a lot of people want. It's extremely important and helpful. Whoops, bloody hell, my desk. And you know, that's what we're here to do, and share and help. Anyone who doesn't want to be part of that, good for you, but we're not having you in here. So just bear that in mind. Everybody obviously that knows me knows exactly what I'm talking about, and I'm extremely fair, but like will not put up with nonsense from anybody. Saying that, hopefully you'll enjoy the rest of the evening. Everything's went to kind of pot. I've been at the allotment today. I was driving home. I've just done a video driving home. I'm going to share it there. It's a few swear words in there, right? Because a couple of people tried to kill me on the road today, and it kind of came out by accident. So, you know, just if you do get to watch that video, just bear that in mind. It wasn't me just jumping on wanting to swear at people. Literally, a couple of incidents and I was driving home. So I will put that up later anyway, so you can laugh at me getting swearing. Not angry. I was just like got a shock and got scared. So hopefully everybody's doing well. There's a lot of names that I can recognize on there. Some of them that I don't, which is great. And you know, yeah, we've all had. You can see I've been at the allotment. I did have my hat on, so trying to, like, you know, haven't got the hair style for you know, being in too much sun, but I got quite a bit of work done, and you know, so it was good for that. But I was also working quite a lot, and I'm going to tell you all now. I'll get on with it. Don't worry. Somebody told me off last week for talking about my allotment, and he said I've got to go to work, so quickly get on. I can't remember what last week's was about, which is quite funny, and I agree with him as well, you know. But you know, come on, you've got to have a little bit of like rapport with your audience as well, not just going, right, okay, listen to this, it's about a debt now, go and sod off and do something about it. But anyway, get lost, forgot what I was talking about there, you know. So yeah, and today is vitally important. Now I have a little bit of experience in this, like because we were in Spain for quite some time, so you know you're not there and you're not seeing what goes on. And it was Janine's auntie who ended up in a home, and you know, she lost everything. You know what I mean? Like they literally took absolutely everything. And funnily enough, purely coincidence, I'm not saying anything, not accusing anybody of anything. As soon as all the money ran out, went for much longer after that, and she died. You know, month, you know, maybe that. Like everything was gone. It went below the level. It's like less now. I know now it's 23,000 ish, a little bit more, like, you know, with pence and stuff. But as soon as it dropped below there, you know, miraculously, coincidentally, you know, she died. So they're not going to be not getting paid. All right, let's just put it that way. And I tell you what, someone actually just put their YDXYZ has said, you know, I remember chatting, you know, similar story, and it comes in time and time and time again. So I'm going to show you some simple things that you can do, right? That you can actually, fingers crossed, prevent this from happening to you. So there is some simple, they're not tricks, and everything's illegal and everything's done literally with government forms, with His Majesty's Land Registry, HMLR, the forms. And I've been trying to get the forms up. Nothing's bloody working tonight. Still trying to get the form up there. Let me go back and see if I can do it. Let's see. Let me have a look. Sorry for anybody that was on last week and said, oh, there we go. Let me have a look. There we are. Now, hopefully I don't confuse too many people with this, because it's similar. Right, let's make this bigger for you. Yeah, that'll do. That will do. Let me just quickly check going down. You know, because it's virtually, it's a shorter, but it's very, very similar to an RX1. Okay. So anyway, sorry, there was a guy on last week that he was trying to stop himself drinking. I ain't, right? It's cloudy lemonade. Okay. And Jeff, it is my magical never ever going down glass. So just so you know, Jeff, it's still intact and it works. There, see, look, see, there's people already talking about it. Happened exactly the same, you know, happened exactly the same. You know what I mean? Oh, look at that. There you go. Isn't that nice, Graham? Okay, enjoy yourself. I've actually, anyway, well, I'll not keep going off on a tangent. I've literally just increased my qualifications for driving boats, and you know, where you can do it safely without having to die. And I'm going down to Plymouth in a few months and doing the next one. It's navigation. It's not at sea. It's like all on charts. But yeah, cool. All right. So let's get back to it. Now, what we're talking about is, right, care fees and how you can stop these care fees. Now, I'm going to show you the forms from the Land Registry, right? It's very similar to an RX1. Just put a Y in the chat if anyone's ever used or heard of an RX1. Maybe you've heard it from me, and I've been telling you you should all be doing an RX1 if you have property, especially if you have a mortgage. Okay. Yeah, see what JK is saying, right? Percentage of properties in a locality moving to council hands must have been increasing a lot over the decades. There's one just round the corner from us here, right? And it's just a little bungalow. So I know there's a lot of elderly people live in this area around there where all the bungalows are. And they've just put, like, you're not allowed on this property, you're not allowed to change the locks. Big notice on the door, and it's got, like, you know, up for auction. And who do they auction it to? All right, I mean, does that really going in? So you know, a lot of people saying yes, you know about the RX1 form. Look, see the Jules, 150 grand in fees, fighting it, you know, and I mean, I don't know what that exact case is. I don't know who that is saying, but you know, more than likely it's happened after, you know, and then the council are demanding it, and they're wanting the property, or they're wanting your property, and they're wanting it from the death estate. This can all be avoided. Now, it's up to you what you want to think, what you want to do, what you want to believe, right? I deal with people who have got qualifications and enormous knowledge on land registry, private trust. So it's not just me, it's like literally professionals that I talk with, that I deal with. I could even like give you to them, you know, if that was what you wanted. And they deal, and they are all literally legally registered to do this type of stuff. But you don't need to use anybody else. We are a group. Checkmate the Matrix. It's telling you on the bottom, join Checkmate the Matrix, right? You don't have to, but there you go. And if anybody in here that's part of the group, then they'll tell you should be in, because it's brilliant. But we are a group of self-litigants. What that means is that we do everything ourselves. We look after our own affairs, lawfully, legally, and as a man or a woman. So, you know, I mean, if you all think that is the way to do it, just tell me on the chat, yes, I agree. Just say that, yes, I agree. And that's what we're actually here for. That's what we're going to show you. So you don't have to use solicitors. You don't have to use, you know, like a law firm. In fact, if you try, they will harm you. Okay? They will harm you. They will look after themselves before they ever look after you. They are sworn to the bar, right? The British Accredited Registry, where all of the actual legal firms, legal bodies and everything like that swear to, that they have to uphold the court and the bar, right? And, you know, if you come along as a client, let's call it a client, then, you know, you're last in line. You know, what it is that they need to get their money. And if you're in the way, then they're going to smash you, make sure that they get their money. And, you know, I'm not trying to like be gloom and doom, because what we're doing is we're actually educating and sharing the knowledge. And I tell you what, in that group, it ain't just me. Everyone shares knowledge. And then when someone has an experience, good or bad, they share it. Oh, it worked. Brilliant. Oh, there was a hiccup. This happened. Oh, we didn't get it right. We made a mistake. Oh, and everyone says. Then what happens is, like, everyone shares it and everyone gets involved in it and they all learn. So here's what we do in Checkmate the Matrix. Okay. We either win or we learn. And that's what we do. And I used exactly the same philosophy right the way through my fighting career. So those that maybe joining, haven't, you know, been on a chat before, obviously going back to history, I ran like a martial arts school or a gym or whatever you want to call it for a very long time. Well, it's still there now. It's still up and running, getting more and more successful all the time. I've left it all now to my son. He does everything there. But I mean, I was fighting for years and years and years. And I always told all of my guys when I was teaching them, or I was going through it and getting ready for fights, you know, there's no such thing as losing. We refuse to lose. We're going to win or we're going to learn. And then we learn it and move forward in a positive way. We don't look back and go, oh, that was bad, we failed. No, bullshit. And that's the problem with most people. They look at it as failure, they look at it as loss, they look at it as wrong. We don't do that. We push forward with positivity, and we either get the case won, we learn how to do it, one way or the other. And that's what we're here for, okay? All right, so now the thing is, lemonade. Mo O'Donnell, first time there. Mo, you're very welcome. Glad to have you there. Hope you enjoy. And obviously we're talking about the group, and you've seen a lot of people agreeing. Okay, so you know, I'm not going to go and show them all, but it is what it is. All right, so obviously there you go. Hold up my hands. This stuff I find hard to follow, but I do want to be in, and I want to put my home and family into a trust. That's a good thing to try and do. All right, so let's go back to the beginning about what we're talking about. And we're talking about, and you can have parents, all right, that are in this situation, very, very close to. And I will say this now, that there is the best time to have done this was yesterday or a year ago or whatever it is, all right? And the second best time to do it is now. Do not wait, because let's just say it's your parents and you want to look after your parents and they've got a family home. You were probably brought up there as a kid. You've got happy memories. You know, it's all great stuff. They're coming to an age now and we don't know what's going to happen. Okay. And let's just say that there is a lot of these governing or government bodies that want to put you in a care home or put your parents in a care home. Why? Because then they can get rid of them and make a fortune. All right. I mean, these care homes, you know, that's like 4 or 5 grand a month for basic cover. And the cover that they get and the treatment that they get is shit, to be fair. So if you've got anyone that's in that position, your parents, and you want to help them to not end up in a position where they're going to rob the home. The councils are going to repossess the home. And it isn't to cover all the care fees, because I tell you what, they don't sell it like on the open market for like the correct value, you know. So what happens is, and what we're going to explain is, and it's very common, that if you've got a house, right, you've got a home, and you're both living in it, or both your parents are living in it. All right, now I'm talking about couples. We will cover being single. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's exactly the same. But if you've got like your parents, for instance, and they're living in a home and they have a joint tenancy, this is what confuses a lot of people, and I'm not surprised, because it's not meant to be clear, and it's set up in a way that's actually designed, I believe, to confuse people so that you will make a mistake and that you'll end up losing your property. But and I'll tell you what it is, right? Estate agents, solicitors, when you're buying a home, they're going to boom, right, it's joint tenancy, don't worry about it, there's your home, you own it together, you need to own it together. And it sounds very noble, like if it was a solicitor saying, well, no, like you jointly own it, you don't want a share of it, and you're owning it as a loving couple, together, and you own it together, and you own 100% as a partnership. You don't own 50% each. So this is what a lot of people don't get. And I'm going to explain that part. I mean, that owning 100% is lethal. All right. Okay, just want to answer this quickly. I'm not going to go over and answer loads of questions, by the way, but one or two of them that are like, I want to make a point of. If I answer them all, you're not getting no information. But one or two, this is vitally important, because I was just about to say this. It's got nothing to do with the council care home, if it's council run or not. It's about the care fees. Okay, it can be a private one, right? And I'm not saying which one's better, and we don't know who staffs them all. I mean, it's nothing to do with anything like that. But this is just talking about what happens when you end up in care, or your parents end up in care. Then the council have to take care of the fees, no pun intended. All right, and they don't want to, and they want the home. They want your home, or your parents' home. So just think of this, right? A lot of people don't know this. So you can check all this out, because whatever I say, you got to go and research it, because, like most of you probably never even thought about it and never took any notice of it. If you have a will, it doesn't matter. If you get put into a care home and you've got your will and it's lovely made out, the solicitor's got it, and you're saying, right, okay, my house is getting left to blah, 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 my son, my daughter, the grandkids, the cat, right? No, it's written off and ripped up, gone. If you go into care, the council can override it with their statutory powers. Did you know that? So it doesn't matter if you have the most expensive will writer in planet Earth, and they've created you what they're saying, yes, you got a bulletproof will. Nobody will be able to damage this will. Nobody will be able to do anything about it. You go into a care home, the statutory powers that the council have completely override the will. It gets ripped up, thrown away, and they take you home. Did you know that? Okay. I mean, just put yes or no. Just let me know, because I want some interaction. I want to know where everybody is in this actual scheme of things, because there's going to be some powerful stuff that we're going to share. Even though my slides destroyed themselves and everything went to nonsense. All right. So there's a mixed bag. 2 or 3 people saying yes. Some of them are saying no. So there you go. Right. A lot of people didn't know that. They all think, oh, it's all right, my parents have got a will, they're saying what's going to happen. It's in the bin. When they go to a care home, the council get involved, they're bringing in the social workers, right? You are out the window, and the will is in the bin, and it's finished. And whatever they've got, right, be it cash in the bank, savings, investments, the home, boom, it's all going to council. Okay, so just bear that in mind. Now go and research it yourself. I'm not saying like that you should believe me or anything, but I'm telling you. And the people that I talk to and I like listen to and study with, I mean, these are professionals. This is what they do for a living. It's literally their business, and it is a business. These are all highly qualified limited companies, legal firms, friends of mine, contacts of mine, and they discuss it, and they even have their own YouTube channels and their own TikTok channels and talk about it. And they're shocked at the amount of people that attack them, think, "Oh, you're wrong." And it was like, hang on a second, I've been doing this for 30 years, and I'm a professional will writer, I'm a professional trust writer, I'm a professional solicitor, and they still have a go at them. It's crazy, but there you go. You know, I mean, you're obviously still hurting. So what you must do, okay, I'm going to highlight this comment here, or a question or comment. All right, trustee or power of attorney. I'm not really sure what that means, because a trustee would be for a trust, obviously. But a power of attorney, everyone should have a lasting power of attorney. Everyone. Now, years ago, I did a great video with a good friend of mine, late good friend of mine called Richard, and sadly passed away not long after doing the video. And it was all about the power of attorney and the living will. And maybe, you know, he had an idea that his kind of time was nigh, because, you know, he was very passionate and very informative about the living will, how to actually end your time. That's what it was about. This is how I want to die. You write it down. And it's got the power of a court order. And it's a charitable organization that do the living will. And they can't argue with it. But let's go back a little bit further. So the power of attorney, a lasting power of attorney. You all need to go and Google that and research that and make sure that you know that what it's about and that you've got one. You need it on, there's two of them. The health and wellness, right? And the property and finance, two separate ones. And they're both from the government, from the Office of the Public Guardian, the Office of the Public Guardian in Birmingham. Okay? And you have to get one and apply for one. And it takes a long time to come back now, nearly a year in some cases. So again, it takes so long to actually get done, right, that you need to do it a month ago, right? 6 months ago, right? So if you haven't got one, you haven't started it, do it now. Okay? Lasting power of attorney from the Office of the Public Guardian. You have to complete it, apply for it. You'll get the forms given to you, or you download them and print them out. You complete the form. You find out who's going to be attorneys. What is an attorney? Who are you going to give your power to? Right? I'll just tell you who mine is. So like mine is obviously Janine, right? And our son. So I have two. Janine has the same, me or our son. And you know, you could have something similar. You can have as many as you want, but you want at least, like, you know, 2 or 3, so that if something happens to anybody else as well, that, you know, you don't have to start again. You know, you got to think of these things. Now, we have them for health and wellness, and we also have them for the property and the finance. What about the health and wellness? Very, very important. Now, I have full competency. I don't have to worry. Janine's got full competency, not a problem. All you have to do is to go for an appointment at the doctor and mention anything like dementia or a learning difficulty or anything like that, and you can get registered as loss of competency. You'll never be allowed to do either a trust or a lasting power of attorney. It's too late. Once you've gone to the doctor, once something's been reported, once there's been a comment on your medical records or anything else, you're done. So get it done now, because you're going to have to apply for it, send it off. It takes ages to come back. You need to have a lasting power of attorney, finance and wellness. Okay? And it'll take, I mean, now it's taken up to a year to come back. And then once you get your paperwork back and it's all stamped and registered, you then have to register it online, so it's all linked together. And then you keep your paperwork, your power of attorney. And what means is, right, it can be anything. So let's just say, right, that you ended up in hospital and you were unconscious. You got hit on the head with a brick walking past the building site. Now, they can do anything they want to you as you end up in the hospital. Now, there is no such thing absolutely no such thing in the UK law, right? England, Ireland, sorry, like northern part of it, not my choice. Scotland, Wales, wherever you are, no such thing as next of kin. And I hear it all the time, so don't worry, I'm next of kin. No, you have no rights, no power, no say, nothing. They will kick you up the bum and throw you out of the hospital and do whatever they want. My lasting power of attorney. If I end up in that position, Janine obviously has power to say whatever happens. Our son has my instructions to do what I want. And basically, if I ever do go in and I can't speak for myself, I've either lost competency or I'm unconscious, whatever it is, they're not allowed to put a mask on me. They're not allowed to put any ventilators on me. They're not allowed to give me any vaccinations. They're not allowed to give me any blood, right? They're not allowed to inject me with anything. They're not allowed to do anything at all to me. I'm not allowed to write down, you leave me in the corner and let me die, but that's what it basically means, right? You need that. And the two attorneys that I have know exactly what I want. And the hospitals will still argue with you and still come up and give you BS, right? But now you have a legal power to shut them down. And just all you got to say to them is, I tell you what, I'm just going to get my video out. All right, if they ever argue with you about what the lasting power of attorney gives you, I'm saying, I tell you what, I'm just going to video it. Can you go and say that again, right, on video? You'll never get a doctor argue with you on video because they know they're lying. So when they're trying to tell you a lasting power of attorney means nothing, we've got to say, we can do whatever we want. You say, not a problem. I'm just going to put it on video. Say it again, please, and get the video up. They'll run a mile. You've got the power. You've got the lasting power of attorney. So use it properly, okay? So the make sure that you actually get that done. So, I mean, the thing is, we've got to remember as well, it only covers you up to point of death. As soon as you died, whoever was there for the lasting power of attorney now has no power over everything. It doesn't matter. So you have to have other things in place to actually make sure that everything can actually function correctly. Now, let's just move back a bit. Let's just say it's completely crazy. It's not about losing competency or anything like that. What if you were running a business, right, and you ended up and it was ill and you couldn't speak, or had a major operation, had a car crash, right? You're not losing competency, but you're unconscious and you're getting put in a coma, you're getting all this stuff, and you had a business and your business had to pay the bills, had to pay your staff, nothing can happen like that unless there's a power of attorney that can actually run all the finances for you on your behalf. And there's no point in your wife, husband, partner going in, even a business partner saying, well, I'm going to do that now. If you're not on the actual bank account as a power of attorney or a joint signatory, you've got no chance. Okay, so it isn't just about the care home thing, right? I mean, that's got like another bigger issue to it. But that is what I'm saying. It is vitally important to actually get yourself a lasting power of attorney on both the finance and the health, okay, on both. And it isn't just about losing competency. It could be just you were in an operation, car crash, right? 2 people nearly bloody killed me tonight, just trying to come home, all right? So just keep that in mind, all right? Look at that case. I'm saying this about care homes, but it isn't just about that. There's a lot more issues that we can actually need to pay attention to. So let's skip back again, and now let's talk about going into the care homes. And it doesn't just have to be, right, and this is, I'm taking it on a personal experience side here, on Janine's auntie, got put in because she couldn't do anything for herself. She got terrible arthritis in her hands, couldn't actually do a lot of these movements with her hands, completely fine, right, mentally sharp as a razor, but couldn't physically do the things that she needed to do, to cook, to eat, to clean, right, to move around the house. Totally fine, right? Still got put into a care home because she lived on her own, and physically was said, no, we need to look after you. And boom, away she went. Now, we weren't there. We weren't even in the country. So, You know, I'm just, it is just one of them things. And she lived on her own. She was, if you think we live in Newcastle, she lived in Coventry, moved from here down to Coventry in the war to work in the ammunition factories in Coventry, right? So, and she'd worked her entire life, had everything for herself, you know, and they took everything, okay? You know, not that it's not about, right, oh, we wanted money or anything like that. I don't give a shit about that. It wasn't mine anyway, but, you know, Janine doesn't care about that. She was always there to try and look after her auntie. But they literally, like, just took everything. So everything she'd worked for, everything she'd accomplished, they took it all. And like I say, you know, a month later, after all the funds run out, boom, oh, by the way, she's dead, you know. And it happens to a lot of others. A few of them just said that, you know, in there, you know. So it happens. Now let's go back to the tenancy thing. If you are in this joint tenancy, right, or your parents are in a joint tenancy, because you've got to look after both sides, you know, and obviously it's very apt, you know, because people are trying to look after the parents, right, and a lot of yous will be, I know yous are. If they have got joint tenancy, they own the whole thing 100% together, okay? So what happens is, right, let's just say that one of you, what happens if you die? The other one ends up there owning all of it, 100% of it, and it's all in that one name, and then they end up having to go into care. The council are going to take that home immediately. But they can still try their best, even if only one of you go into care. So if you both don't die, right, I'm trying to be morbid, but then one of you goes into care, because they jointly own 100%, right, they can still attempt to take that home, because the one that's in care owns 100% as well as the one that isn't in care. That is where the issue is. It's a big issue. They can really fight to get that home. So if you use this form, and it is a land registry form, it's not no made up stuff. You can, and some of you hopefully may already have a tenants in common instead of joint tenancy together. When it goes to tenants in common, boom, separates like that. You both own 50% of it equally. When it's a joint tenancy, you both own 100% together. So if one of you get put in a care home, they can still take the care home because you own 100% of it. Now, obviously, the surviving one or the one that's not in the home is going to argue, but I mean, this is the council with the power, right? And, you know, they have these statutory powers that they can actually take the home, all right? But if you separate it, it prevents it. They can't, okay, there could be like the extreme, like weird circumstances, but normally they can't repossess half a house. So if you divide it into tenants in common, 50% to mom, 50% to dad, right? And then one of them goes into a home, they can't repossess half a house. Does that make sense? So, you know, you don't want to have joint tenancy. And I bet you most people have got joint tenancy because it's recommended, you know? Again, right, something's very apt here. So I'm just going to, I'm not going to answer tons of questions because I wouldn't get through. I will have a little bit of time at the end. We'll try and answer questions, but it's not a question and answer session. I'm trying to give some information, but this is actually covering one of my points. So I'm going to show you it, right? So what they're saying is I own the house and there's only my name on the registry. Okay, so this, like when he says his wife, folks, so obviously he's the guy owns on the land registry. I'm only talking about legally, by the way. I'm not talking about financially, morally, or anything. Legally, what they look at. It's not what may be the reality of it, but legally, what they look at is whose name. That's all they care about. So just bear that in mind. I'm not trying to be moral about it. I'm not trying to be judgmental. I'm not trying to be like saying like, what's this, what's that, what's the next thing, legally. So this guy owns all of it. Now, let's just look at it in two ways. If he died, fingers crossed, that he's actually got a will written out, because if he hasn't, the wife would struggle to actually stay in that property. If he hasn't got that will, okay, and even then, still may be a problem. But if he got put in care, then they would attack that property wholeheartedly. She's got no legal say on it whatsoever. Legally, and I'm just talking about legally, right? Put it there, right? Goes into care. Whitey goes into care. Then she's got no say on that property whatsoever. They're going to look at it and go, boom, we'll take all of that. We're going to repossess that home. We're going to sell it to our friends, right? Way below like market value, but we're going to take it and that's it. And then we're going to use that to pay for the care fees and until that money runs out. And then, see what happens and see how long it takes for them to actually pass away, So let me quickly go over how to actually do this splitting if you already have. You don't need to do the RX1. There's a lot of people mentioning an RX1. You don't need to do it, okay? The RX1, I do recommend anybody who, especially if you do have a mortgage, so more than likely the younger ones that have still got the mortgage, you want an RX1 on the property because you want to ring fence as much as possible to try and stop as much as you can any corporation trying to put an additional charge on the actual land registry, okay? It doesn't guarantee it, but it does hinder them. But it's not an RX1. Because what you want to do is, it's very similar to an RX1. It does a similar job. And I didn't invent the form. It's not my fault, right? They've done it. I'll show you in a second. It's an SEV. SEV, sugar. Right, it's not sugar. Sierra Echo Victor. SEV. That is the name of the form. I'll show you it now, actually, so that we can actually... How do I do this? Right, share screen. SEV form. There we go. All right, this is the SEV form. HM Land Registry application to enter a restriction on severance of joint tenancy by agreement or notice. That is the difference, right? So this heading here at the top, HM Land Registry. So you can see, look, it says SEV. Application to enter Form A restriction. An RX1 also does a Form A restriction, but this is for severance of joint tenancy by agreement or notice. All right. So I'm not going to read all of these bits to it, but this is actually very similar to an RX1. So the local authority, who would that be? Who's your council? You put in there title number. Hopefully you'll know your land registry title number for your property. You're going to put your address. Application, I'm not sure. I've never even checked. On the RX1, it's 45 or 90 if they decide so. They've never actually explained why, but they do. Okay. All right. The applicant, that's going to be you, who's actually applying to sever the tenancy. Okay. Address, obviously, the application is sent to the land registry by, that would be you, your name there. forget this key stuff. Address, well, you don't need the X number, but your address you do, so you put your address down. Email, your reference number, you would just create that. Okay, phone number, you put your number in, probably never had a fax. And then evidence of severance, and it goes through all of these different ones here. So let me have a look. So evidence of the severance. Application is by all the registered proprietors. So if there's you, all right, so if it was me, if there's me and my wife, then we could tick this because we're both going to do it at the same time. So all registered proprietors of the title number referred to in panel 2 are applying. All right, no further evidence is required. So if there was 2 of you on, you're both actually applying at the same time, you would tick that, job done, then sign it, send it in. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Dead simple. Next one, B, application is not by all the registered proprietors. Severance is by document signed by all the registered proprietors. What? All right, okay, so you've got a document saying that we are, that's right. So you can get a document and get them to sign the document, and then you are going to fill this form in. Then the original certified copy of the form or the document so that they've signed. All right, obviously we're not a conveyancer, so we're not going to do that part. We're only going to do that part. Right, that's if both of you aren't applying on B. C, application is not by all the registered proprietors. Notice of severance has been served, because you do a notice, and I'll show you that at a different time. And it's literally just a letter, a notice, whatever you want to call it. The original or certified copy of the notice of severance and a signed acknowledgement of receipt by the other registered proprietor is enclosed, and you would tick it. So they're actually saying they've been served that you're going to sever the actual tenancy. Okay, the next one, the original or certified copy of the notice of severance and my certificate is enclosed. So you're getting a certificate of severance as well, confirming that the notice was given to the other registered proprietor, be your husband, your wife, your partner, whoever it would be, right? And you're wanting to split the tenancy to tenants in common. Left at their last known place of abode or business in the UK, obviously this is a more extreme, or sent by registered post or recorded delivery service to them at their last known place of abode or business and not returned undelivered. The next one, I am the applicant's conveyancer. Well, we're not. We don't need to know that. We don't need to know that because we're not a conveyancer and we wouldn't use them. And then signature of applicant, that would be you, obviously not the conveyancer. There's a lot more to the RX1. It goes on a bit more. This one is shorter. It's much more straightforward. So let me stop sharing there and come back in. Okay, so fingers crossed. You've seen on the RX1, you've seen the SEV form. That's what you need to Google to download SEV form. You do it for you do it for your parents, right? You've got to split the tenancy so it's tenants in common. Okay, that is the vital important part. Then you would get remember, you've got to do all this now and get the lasting power of attorney as well for the health and wellness, as well as, and this is nothing to do with care homes, by the way, the actual lasting power of attorney. This is just what you should be doing anyway. Okay, you should be doing that. And then you should be separating the actual tenancy just in case that this happens in the future. May never happen to you. Hopefully it doesn't ever happen to you. But look at that and make sure that you can separate it. Okay, you need to fill that form in and you need to separate your tenancy. You do not want to be joint tenants. And I bet you it just gets done. They wouldn't even, I bet you, when you're buying a house, I bet they don't even say, do you want to be joint tenants or tenants in common? I bet they never ask. In fact, let me know in the chat, right? If anyone has bought a property, I have no idea if you have or you haven't. If you got offered the choice, right, let me know. Say why, say yes. Oh, yes, I got offered the choice. And I bet you most of it is no. Put N or no, right? And let's see. See how many come back. Go on, do it for me now. And let's see. Oh, Freddie's on. Hi, Freddie. Cake Lady. Coming to see Cake Lady soon over in Ireland. Never even got told. Never even got given the option. Right? Yeah. Solicitors. Oh, you can go and watch Look Down Boss. Dave's putting there. Whatever you have got, you want to be tenants in common. That gives you 50% ownership. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, well, there's a point, right? I'm just going to quickly put that up again. I'm not going to go over tons of questions, but just the odd comment actually helps me. Okay. So I'm a property investor, and they do not. You have to ask. So they're actually putting the burden upon you, you know. But in reality, because it's such an important aspect, do you not think that they would have a duty to at least tell you that there's an option? Anyway, we'll not go on about it, but you know they don't. And they're always going to push. Why are they always going to push? Because they're all in the same group. They're all in the same club. And they all want the same thing, which is you to bloody lose everything. All right? So here's the next thing. So, and there's various ways of doing this. Once you've actually split the tenancy, right? This is a way that I would recommend a joint tenancy, that you both create a trust and you put your 50% in trust, and they put, your partner, whoever it is, puts their 50% in trust, and obviously the opposite parties plus others. And it shouldn't be a named beneficiary. Don't put somebody down as an individually named beneficiary. Always use a class of beneficiary, all right? That will obviously include, you know, the actual other half. But for privacy and protection, for many other things, not just the actual any tax situations, but you know, also talking about the actual the fees of it, and the actual, not taxation, but on the assessment, right? So when you go into a home, let's just say that even if you're in a joint tenancy. Now, what most people think is, I own 50% and my wife owns 50%, or I own 50%, my husband, partner, whoever owns 50%. So I own and you don't. Joint tenancy means you own 100%. So if you go into a care home and your house is worth 600,000, which is, I mean, fair, okay, up where we live, that's rare. But going down south, I mean, it's like, that's nothing. So they will go and do an assessment saying this one's going into care. That 600,000 means that they have to pay all their own fees, right? If it's above £23,000, that assessment, right, then you have, and they take in the house, right, any savings, investments, bank accounts, everything. And if you've got a property that's worth over that 23,000, that's not going to be difficult, right? But it's 100% owned. Even if there's someone else living in the property, you know, your husband, wife, partner, right, whatever, they're living in the property, but you own it 100%, just the same as they do. They use that for the assessment, right? If you've got split tenancy, tenants in common, they can only use 50% of that property value. Does that make sense? Right? So think about, they're going to do the assessment. They're going to go into, right, we need to know how much this woman, this man, well, they won't look at it like that way. They'll say this person. We want to know how much of this person is valued at. Now, if they've got a joint tenancy and it's jointly owned at, like, say, 600,000, right? which isn't massive when you go a little bit further down south. It's actually very low, right? That 600,000, they're going to be going, yes, we want that home. We're going to repossess that home. When you've split the tenancy, they can only do the 50%. Okay. And also they can't repossess 50% of a home. So that's a big thing. So just bear that in mind, right? That it splits the value as well. Very, very important. All right. So not only that though, and just keep this in mind and bear this in mind, when you assign any asset into a trust, you no longer own that asset. When you assign even your 50% into a trust, the trust takes over the value. You do not own it. You ever heard of the saying, right? You know, own nothing and be happy. Now I'm not on about like what's his name again? Klaus Schwabby Bobby Lobby, right? But like say we will change the wording, own nothing and control everything, rather than Schwabby, where he's like own nothing and be happy. Own nothing, control everything. Then your name is not down as the owner. So you're not on the land registry. You're not down there saying you own it. You don't own the car. You don't own the caravan, the boat, or whatever it would be. It's in a trust, and the trust, the owners of it. Okay? So then, if it's not your asset, they can't use it for the third party assessment to look at care fees. Now let's take it to like a level there, right? So you've got like a home, right? It's just if you're looking now, right? If you're like kind of like, you know, around like 50-year-old, you're probably looking at like your parents. They've had like a home their entire life. It's all the mortgage is gone. The family home, you were brought up there. Your siblings, if you've got them, were brought up there, right? That's the family home, their biggest asset, and that's what they think that they're going to be leaving to whoever they want to leave it to. You, your brothers and sisters, share it between each other, whatever, you know, but the will's made out and everything like that. Remember, the will disappears if anything happens to them. They own the care. They have the statutory power. Boom, the will is out the window. But, you know, if it's there and they've actually got it like as a joint tenancy, then 100% of that property can be used as an assessment. They are taking it. All right. And so the family home that you love, that you look at as like my childhood home and blah 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 and all that stuff, it's going. So the heartbreak of it is because you see your parents going through all of that life, thinking they're leaving it to you or someone else or whatever it is. No one's getting anything, right? Apart from somebody in the council. And they're taking that and they're probably going to be selling it to friends and stuff. And, you know, I mean, oh God, the level of corruption is so disgusting that it's inexplicable, you know. So, you know, let's just like think about it that way. There is no way that they're going to try and look after you. Now, if you split the tenancy and you can do several things, and if you wanted to, I'm definitely not recommending it, but you could go to a solicitor and you can say, can you put my 50%, right, in a trust? I wouldn't recommend that, because what they'll do is they'll actually make a statutory trust and register it with the Trust Registration Service, the TRS, which is another name for HMRC, which is going to put everything in to be taxed. You want to remove it completely out of your cupboard of estate, your death estate, your accessible estate for care fees, and you want to remove it and you want to put it in a trust that You do not own, the trust owns it. Now, here's the key as well. Another key, right? But this is vitally important, because I tell you what it is, right? Everyone has the right to remain silent, but few of you have the ability to do it. Right, okay. I was going to the allotment today. I had to go and buy a birthday gift for Janine. So I went down to the shop. Had to go into I knew where I wanted to go, but I had to go through a supermarket to get into the actual shopping centre behind it, to go further down to this shop that I knew where this thing was. A witchy thing, potions, witchy thing, right? So we're trying to poison me with these potions. I'd probably not poison me, but she's always giving me these potions to drink. She's mixing them up. It's like having a big cauldron, hubble bubble and all that stuff. Anyway, so I wanted to go and get this little witchy gift thing, and as I'm coming back, I'm going to go back to the car, so I have to go through the supermarket again to get to the car park. And I'm just walking past, and there's this woman standing with a young girl. I don't know how old, right? Could be, I don't know. She was obviously over 18. I'll tell you why. But I mean, she could have been 18, 19, 20, 25. Don't know. I was just glancing by, but I was listening, couldn't help it. And she was like really adamant, right? Really happy. Oh, do you have to check her ID? This is what this presumed mother was saying. So I just looked at her and I thought, huh? What? Why would you do that? And she and even the shop assistant went, excuse me, what do you want? And she went, well, I'm paying for it, right? But it's her wine I'm buying for her. But because I'm buying it for her, she needs to provide her ID to actually allow me to buy the wine for her. This is what this woman said to a shop assistant, right? I presume it was her daughter, right? She's buying a bottle of wine, might even be for a birthday, I don't know, right? But I mean, so she obviously is, because she was pulling out her ID, right? As I look, went, what? Could see her getting something out of a bag or a purse or something like that. And I was like, wow, really? You are so desperate to follow the fucking rules that you're actually going to be saying to a shop assistant who could not give a shit. She was like she wasn't running. She was like very slow, walking backwards and forwards like that, right? Up on these self-service counters. And this woman was getting the wine and desperate to follow the rules that she was like kind of in a way grassing up her own, let's presume, daughter so she could get her to give ID. I mean, like, when you're dealing with these people, silence is golden. Shut the fuck up, right? Stop volunteering all this bullshit information that you don't need to actually give. And this goes for everything, all right? But what I'm saying is, right, so we need to start acting in a more private way, then go in and start actually creating and build these private trusts. And you create your own. You do it yourself. You don't need anyone to do it for you. You don't have to pay anyone to do it for you. You can do it for yourself. And do you know what? I mean, like I tell you, worst case scenario, go on to ChatGPT. I ain't saying it's going to be the best, but that would give you a deed, right? Now, I am building this app. I was just doing the video on it when a couple of people tried to kill me. That we have got this app, and I'm nearly finished it. And it's not just me. I've got these like other experts that are helping me do it, that are app experts, not a chatbot. This is an app. This is like, and it's going to create a trust for you. You put the information in and it will create a trust for you on what we've designed and put in there. And there's two versions. There's like the common law jurisdiction or the Jersey Trust jurisdiction. Now, for separate reasons, everybody's going to have their own opinion. And I'm telling you now, I don't give a shit what anyone says. You'll not get a better trust deed than these two. You will not, no matter who's done it. And if it's one of the clowns like that are generally doing them for you, I guarantee you, like, this app will make you like a trust that will stand up in an equitable court and make all the barristers sit down and shut them out. The same one, by the way, right, that actually just went in court was the 12th of May, and we're still fighting another case of it because we've stopped them taking the house, I shut down the repossession. Use this one trust deed. Now, just all the bullshitters out there, you tell me who else has done that, right? Went into a court and actually stopped. It was a repossession hearing, boom, trust deed, stop the repossession, dead. Tell me, anyone else that you know that's actually done that? Now, they're actually going after it because the guy's a property developer, he's a businessman, he's got several other properties that he's got on the go, and he's actually got a block of flats as well. Not massive, but a block of flats. So, we're in the fight to do that. Exactly the same, but we're closing it all down by using this trust deed, right? And it's the same one that's been put into this app. And I'm going to show you the app. Now, the app is going into my private group. So you want to use the app, you've got to get into the private group. This is going to be the app of apps that can actually create these private trusts. All right? And it's powerful. It is powerful. Okay? But you could, if you want, just even go to a solicitor and say, look, give me a will trust. So what happens is you separated it into the 50%. You are now tenants in common, not joint tenancy. Get rid of that straight away. Use that EV form I've just shown you. I will attach it onto this video, right, when we're finished the live, and we're going to put it on YouTube. I'm going to put it on my private group, right? And I should actually put it up on Rumble. I keep forgetting to do all that. Right, separated there, and then like what you can do is you can even say to a solicitor, give me a will trust. So what that means is when you die, that immediately goes into a trust. And if you're married, right, and just say it's me, so there's my wife, and I die, so it goes into a will trust for the kids or the grandkids, then she doesn't own it, right? She's like left alone there with her 50%, but hers is in a will trust as well. So when she dies, that also goes into a trust. Boom. Or you can create the trust straight away. If you separate it, tenants in common, you have a trust, two trust deeds, separate. And you can actually have different trustees. You don't have to have each other. You can have different trustees going into there to look after it. And then the beneficiaries should not be named. There should be a class of beneficiary that will actually make it private. So you've got good privacy in there. But it can it can be whoever you want. You can put your cat down if you want. But normally it will go down a bloodline. So you're going to actually have to express, and I can show you the examples of how to express a class as a bloodline. All right, so that it can actually put it into the bloodline, but not give it a specific name. The tax benefits and the tax protections are a lot stronger. Okay, and you can pass it down with, if you use the correct trust, with the perpetuity that to keep it in the trust going over and over and over and over. Could be somebody like, I don't know, little Queen has gone on, and now like somebody else like Sausage Fingers has got all this property, never paid a fucking penny, and it goes on and on. Or it could be like going into Hughes Grosvenor, who like owns Westminster, and he didn't pay a penny, 400 million in properties that he inherited. It's got a perpetuity clause in the trust that just keeps going and going and going. So he doesn't own it, he's not inherited it, it's put into a trust. The trust keeps going, nobody pays any tax. How is it that we're all the ones that are like, getting robbed, and we're all paying the tax, right? And every time somebody in your bloodline family, they die, 40% of it's paid in tax straight away if it goes over like the threshold. I can show you other ways as well of building up, because you've got like the different allowances that will build it up to 1 million. Did you know that? So you've got your 325,000, but you can actually get it straight away to 500,000. And if you did it correctly, and it was two of you, you can actually get it up to 1 million. So you would never actually get near that threshold. Other ways of protecting it without having a trust. And then if you actually did that, plus put the trust inside, and did the separation of like the joint tenancy, You know, I mean, you've actually put yourself on protection steroids. Okay? So think of this now. What the councils do not want you to do and know is separate the tenancy. Then your separation tenancy, put one in a trust, each of them separately in a different trust. Be it a will trust, go to a will writer, go to a trust writer, go and do it. Go to a solicitor, right? I'm not going to do it for you, by the way. I'm not trying to sell anything. I could not give a shit, right? I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm trying to tell you what to do for the best of you, okay? That's all. And I know, like, you know, not everyone will agree with that, but I'm not trying to sell you anything. Go and do it. Right? Or, right, I say, we've got the app that will actually show you how to make a specific one just for you. But that's it. The app will do it. I mean, once in a group, it's free. You just go and do it, right? It's like there won't be any extra to pay or anything like that. This is the ridiculousness of this is AI. This is the future. Now, you can use AI for good or evil. Just the same, right? Guns don't kill anyone. Knives don't kill anyone. Somebody holding it will do the action. That's what kills them, commits murder, commits the violence. Okay? Totally different thing. Then it's the same with AI. You either use it for the good or you use it for the evil. It's the one that's doing the actual actions, and that's what we've done. We've used the AI to create. It's not finished yet, but I tell you, when this app is complete, and we're having like people looking at this app that are like, you know, built some of the best apps in the planet, and this app will just literally turn around and create a trust for you if you want that, right? Or go to a solicitor and get one done. I wouldn't recommend that, by the way, but that's the way to do it. Actually separate it, put it in a trust and protect. That is how you actually do it. Now, the councils or the care fee assessors or any third-party interloper, by the way, debt collectors and everything like that, if you don't own it, they cannot take it away from you, right? If you don't own it, they can't take it away from you. So if you actually put it in a trust and you do it correctly, and it's what you call the beneficial, the equitable beneficial interest that you're actually assigning into the trust, right? Then you also, even if you have a mortgage, you can do that. And if you do the paperwork correctly, and again, like I say, you know, we've been in the court, shut down the repossession order, boom, straight away, trust deed, there you go, right? You can't have it, can't have the property. They went ballistic, right? The guy who was trying to get it, I'm not going to say anything about him, right? But I mean, he nearly had a heart attack, and he turned on his barrister. And so the barrister was getting laid into, and then the barrister comes up, well, I'm going to do you for mortgage fraud, going to do you for this, going to do for you that, you know, but we've already got the clauses that allows them to do certain things with the property. As a trustee, they're allowed to invest and borrow and use remortgaging, etc., inside of the trust. Okay, so that they were allowed to do what they're allowed to do. Totally smashed that as well. So anyway, all right, I've never looked at any of the comments apart from 2 or 3 that jumped out. But you've got literally 5 minutes to actually try and ask some questions. So if anybody does have any questions, you can fire them in now. And if I get a chance to answer them, I will. Right, so let me know. Just anything in there. And by the way, anybody who is in here that is in our group, Checkmate the Matrix, what you want to do is you want to start putting your links in now, because everybody who joins the group gets an affiliate link. And what that means is you can put your affiliate link out to anyone. And if somebody clicks it and they join the group because of your link, you get 50% commission, right? Every month. So in reality, think about this, right? I'm not trying to sell the group. I mean, I know how brilliant it is. Those people before putting it in, how brilliant it is, right? But you go into the group, then you get 2 people to join under your link, you're in for free, right? The third person that joins, all right, but the third one that joins, that means we're now paying you to be in the group, right? Now you can have 20 people, 100 people, right? All of them joining in. So you can actually end up making a sovereign enterprise of putting your link out so that people can actually come and join under you, and you actually have an income coming in of it. A sovereign enterprise, right? And it's not an income, shouldn't say that. You have donations coming in as a sovereign enterprise, and it's because you're helping other people by providing them this information, and you're in for free, so you can still join and help and get all of the benefits. So, if you are in the group already, just share your link now. So anyone that's there, I'm not going to give you mine. I want other people to share it, and then you go click their link, you become their member, and they're going to actually get benefit. You're going to get benefit, and everybody is helping everybody else. Does anybody know anyone else that does that, by the way? Right? Or they'll call it like this. I think there's a truth community thing, right? Does anybody know anyone else in that thing that like helps others properly like that? And then everybody can kind of reciprocate the actual efforts, and then everyone helps each other as they go through. But just there, right? If you can't click the links, copy and paste it, right? Copy and paste it. So look there, brilliant information. The group is amazing. You'd be daft not to join. I agree, but that's not me saying it, okay? All right, look, there's somebody there. Craig's putting out his link. Right, get in and do some of the links. Look, see, there's Kathleen, love the group. So yeah, copy and paste exactly that. Copy and paste. They don't have to if it doesn't do that. How do we acquire the affiliate link? It's already in there, Paul. Go down onto the left-hand side, clicks down there, invite people. There it is. All right. I might have, because of your link, I might have to talk to you about it, how to change it slightly to make sure that it's effective. Because it only works when it's set up, because other people on the test phase were set up a different way. You were on the test phase. Everyone else is not on the test phase. All right, so we might have to change yours specifically, Paul. Diane, look, see, she's putting hers out. Go and click it. All right, cut and paste it, and you can go in. Well, surely you can. All you got to do is like literally highlight it, and then right click and copy. I mean, I'm not savvy to everything. Okay. Oh, see another one there. Best thing I did, joining. There you go. And I'm not saying it, right? These are like, and I guarantee you, right? I'm not paying anyone to say anything like that. But anyway, has anyone got actually any questions? Like, say, I don't know, about the SEV form, about the RX1, about the trust, about anything like that, Has anyone got any questions? Okay, well, Sue, I'll tell you what, we're actually going to put this link, I'm going to put this video on YouTube, right? It'll be saved. It'll be tomorrow, right? But then you can actually go on and you'll be able to copy it as well from there. Or, right, go and speak to somebody that's on here. No is the answer to that. So I do not know. I've actually got a couple of friends that are barristers, and they are so on our side. But they're kind of like, they've got to be careful, because if they were seen to be doing what we're doing, then they wouldn't be a barrister very long. All right. what if you're single? I presume that's what that means. What if you were single? I mean, at the end of the day, like, I mean, you've still got to put your house in a trust because you don't want it to be like assessed by a third party assessor, you know, and they're going to take your property. And like what you've just said, you want to leave it to your daughter, then it'll be gone, you know. What does that say? So ultimately, you fill in the RX1 form to charge the remainder value of the residence. No, it was the SEV form. You can do an RX1, right? But that's if you've got the mortgage and you want to put a ring around it, but it's not guaranteed. But if you want to separate the tenancy, it's the SEV form. I'll put the link in when we've actually finished this, okay? All right. So we'll be all finishing very soon. And thank you as well. I'm glad that you were here. Whitey, hopefully you enjoyed it all. Everyone seems to have done. This is funny. I like this. Let's put that on there. My link is definitely better than anyone else's. There you go. Awesome, Nick. So everybody should go and join that. Okay. That's cool. Which is more forward, living trust or SEV? You need it. Doesn't a living trust? You still need to do the SEV. If you've got a joint tenancy, you got to do the SEV anyway. All right, and everyone should do the SEV because the SEV is going to get it separated. Boom, right? A living trust, you want to go and do the trust that we do. Okay. A living trust is when you do a trust when you're alive. That's what it means, by the way. It's not some kind of magical spiritual thing. It means you've created a trust when you're alive and you're here, and that's it. And you know, it's a living trust because you are alive. It's the back end of the trust and how you actually create it. So you want to be creating, right, a non-grantor, discretionary, complex, spendthrift, non-statutory private trust. That's what you want to be doing, right? Living, of course you're living. You're alive now. The RX1 is essential for those that own property outright. Either if you own it outright, as in it's not encumbered by a mortgage, or you got a mortgage, you still have to do the RX1. Now, there's no guarantees, by the way. I know people who've actually tried to abuse the system. I'll just say that, right? And they haven't done things in certain ways, and the council, as a corporation, still placed a charge on their property, even though they had an RX1. But if you do the RX1, split the tenancy and create a trust, right? I'm not saying to fight anyone. I'm not talking about all of these things that don't do this and don't pay this. And I'm not talking about that. Don't ever say anything like that about that. I've never seen anything like that. But the RX1 itself, doesn't matter if you've got mortgage, not mortgage, outright, doesn't matter. Do it, all right? But also do the SEV if you have a joint tenancy. Okay? See, I don't really know what that means, Anton. I'd like to set up a trust for my niece. Well, you can't set up a trust. Your niece has to set up a trust. So she can set up a trust for herself, you know, and if you want any ideas, then you should be looking in the group, going into the actual trust creation classroom, or eventually, it won't be long, into the actual app. But, you know, that's it. So, you know, she has to create the trust, not you. You can't create a trust for somebody else. All right. Marie says, does the RX1 apply if you own your own house with no mortgage? Either. It doesn't matter. You can actually use an RX1 because what you're doing is you're actually putting a restriction on the property. That's what it means. An RX1 puts a restriction on the property. Now, I'll tell you what, let me take this off. Let's just say you have a mortgage. They've got this line, all right? Here's the line. Okay, well, you can't really see that. If I turn it that way, can you see it? Put it there. Right, this is my Celtic knife. So here, right, is your property. Now, if you've got a mortgage, right, let's just say that up to this part here, the bank own that. That's their RX1. That's their restriction. They own that part. This is your part. This is your equity. Now, you can actually do an RX1 form, and then that will actually encompass that part of it, and it'll put that part in a restriction. So the bank has a restriction on this part. You have a restriction on that part. Does that make sense? Hopefully, that's a simple way of putting it, but it's kind of very, very accurate on what it means. Okay. All right. That there. If you've got a joint tenancy, then you need to do the SEV, right, to separate the tenancy. Then everyone should do an RX1. Okay, but the SEV is to separate the joint tenancy. Okay. This is funny. Cool. Good for you, Fliss. You get on there. That's funny. It actually isn't, right? Because it's a massive difference. There is 800 members, but that isn't what they're doing. But why would you actually put that then, Kate? Why are you doing that? Is that to try and like cause trouble, or to try and make an issue? And what's it got to do with you anyway, or anyone else? Now, a lot of this here, they're not doing that, right? And I'm literally doing it. I can show everyone. You'll try to show everyone, like, let everyone see. Okay, so there's a massive amount of commissions that get paid out of that anyway to others, but most of them are not doing that part, the 50 a month, because they were on the actual beta test. And the vast majority of them, when we started to test it to find out how it worked, are actually paying nothing. So, yeah, really? Is that what you want to be? Yeah? This is how you actually show people, what they're actually like. You can see. You can see how they act. All right. Whoop, it's jumping up and down. So I'm going to have to shoot off in a minute because, it is going to be time to take Mouse out. That there. It's RX1 is not in Scotland, by the way, Tracy. So that's an important part. I'm going to be up in Dundee next week, next Sunday. So I am going up to Glasgow on Saturday. After going on Saturday, finishing, I'm going to be driving over to Dundee. In Dundee, we're doing a whole day, and we're talking a lot about Scottish law as well. It's going to be on the council tax. It's going to be on the debt collection. It's going to be on, a lot of different aspects like that. And it's all going to be Scottish law based. Because it is different, what I mean? Other people say it's not, but it fucking is when you're in it and you're mixed up in it and you're trying to deal with it. You know what I mean? So, but the RX1 does not apply. I try to think of the term. There is a term. I'll have it ready for when I get up there next week. But yeah, slightly different. But still, the SEV form, separate them. Okay, separate them. Okay, you are more than welcome, Jules. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Same for you, Fly. And hail for me as well. Okay. So hopefully you enjoyed. I mean, this. Do you know what I mean? It's just like these. I'm not getting like anything out of doing these apart from trying to pass on information. I am going to do like a pack, right? Because all of my slides fail. I usually have slides to do and just like everything collapsed. I was at I went to the allotment and I was working and everything like that. But I've got to do something for myself, haven't I? And I will actually have a slides to do and present and show you the forms. I showed you the form on here, the SEV, how simple it is to fill in. Okay, it's there, it's ready for you. All right. Does the trust stop a financial order if she makes one? Obviously, you can't talk about specific actual things, Freddie, but maybe we can chat about that because I know we've got a call coming up. But I mean, listen, remember this. If you don't own it, it's got nothing to do with you. So these, mega wealthy people, they get a divorce and then obviously they give the ex-husband or wife a lot of money, right? But normally when they're saying, "Oh, but I want half the house," they say, "Well, I can't. It doesn't belong to me. It's in a trust." Right? Okay? If it doesn't belong to you, you can't touch it. Okay? It's cloudy lemonade. It's cloudy lemonade. That's what it is. And it's my permanently never-ending glass. Jeff will tell you. All right. So then. All right. Yeah. No worries. And hopefully everybody. There you go. There's the thing. I'm sure it's a covenant, yes, for Scotland, but there was two words, so I just need to actually double check that, okay? But yeah, covenant comes to mind, but there was something else, so it's bugging me. So, but what I'll do is when I'm going to create the presentation to add on to this one, and I will definitely get the proper words. Because I was working with two separate ones. One was in Ireland, which is completely different as well. But Covenant rings a bell, but there was like Covenant and something else, and it's just bugging me to actually get that. Yes, I am. Thank you very much. All right. Okie Kobe. Northern Ireland. I would have to actually check because obviously it is. Unfortunately, it's not really at all, but they try and say it's part of the UK. But they say the same about Scotland. I'll have to check and see because it might be a different word as well. All right. So why not put the property in private trust? I just said put it in a private trust, didn't I? I just said put it in a private trust. Pretty sure I said that. All right. Hit the like button, yeah, for whatever, if there is one. But you can do it when it goes up into the, I don't know, is there a like button when you're doing it on the live? Anyway, right, I'm going to shoot. I'm going to get into trouble. So we'll leave it there. This will get put up onto the YouTube anyway, and I will do the presentation as well to actually tie it in because I couldn't do it. Just everything got ruined. All right. But you take care. All right. Thank you very much for coming along. A lot of people come on tonight. I never expected that. That's amazing. Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, 7:30. Right. What the debt collectors don't want you to know. Another extra. All right. And I'm going to show you completely free of charge for like whoever it was that's trying to tell you how many people are in the club. Right. Obviously, we know exactly what kind of pattern they're going to be putting in their life. But here, well, we're going to show you not only the three, right, debt collectors have got no license to be doing what they're doing. They actually do just as many CCJs as all the other debt collectors. They've got no license, three of them. We can shut them all down. I'll show you the paperwork to shut them down. You can take it all for free. I will actually show you exactly step by step how to do it and close them down and shut them down for free. Plus, you even get compensation. I'll give you all the paperwork for free. I'll give you all the information for free. and then find somebody else who actually do that for you. All right, then you can go off and tell how many people are in your group and how many people are paying or not paying or anything like that. And then find someone who gives out all the free information like I do as well. Okay? But this is why we do things like this, because we need to draw out the people that we need to see for what they are. But yeah, Tuesday, I'll show you all of that for free. Take all the paperwork for free. Take all the systems for free. And then you can do exactly what our group are doing to these debt collectors, right? And stopping them, boom, like that. Okay? But anyway, it is time to go. All right? And I will see you all very, very soon. So take care, enjoy, and look after yourselves and look after each other.